The last game that we're going to recap is Auburn at Vanderbilt. We actually did not preview this game last week on the podcast, but with how it played out, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about it on the podcast. Vanderbilt wins in Nashville in overtime, 45-38, on top of one of the best offensive games we've seen all season from both teams. I loved what I saw from Diego Pavia in this game. He threw for over, I think it was close to 370 total yards, and then he had another 115 on the ground. So he finished with about 485 total yards and 4 touchdowns. What a game. I mean,
Both quarterbacks combined nearly totaled 1,000 yards in this game.
Ashton Daniels was right behind Diego Pavia with a really solid dual threat performance. He had over 400 total yards and several touchdowns. If they'd won the game, he would have been probably one of the key players in their win for sure. Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton both went for over 100 yards, finally getting the ball. They both had over 10 receptions. It was time for them to get the ball. And DJ Durkin said, all right, we're going to do what we haven't done all season. We're actually going to continue to throw the ball to our playmakers with a quarterback that's competent. And that's what they did. They exposed a faulty Vanderbilt secondary in this game, and it was a really fun game to watch. I'm glad we got to watch this one pretty much all the way through, mostly in the second half. The touchdown in overtime to Junior Sherrill is what locked this up for Vanderbilt. Diego Pavia has come up clutch in so many different areas of where this football team needed to pull away and win games. And this one was probably the most clutch moment he's had all season. He had a chance to put it away and give him a chance to knock in a field goal before the end of the game and not go into overtime. They actually got stuffed on a 4th-and-1 run play. I think he got tripped up on a quarterback sweep, but he ends up making up for that with a huge touchdown throw to Junior Sherrill. I mean, I can't say enough about Vanderbilt's offense. I've been so impressed. I mean, I genuinely did not think they'd be able to get this much better in a year. They were really solid last year, but this year they've been one of the best offenses in the country, running and passing the ball. Diego Pavia is quietly putting up one of the best statistical seasons we've seen from a Vanderbilt quarterback ever. And if this team wins out, he absolutely should be considered as an option for the Heisman. If not, at least to make it to New York. I've been so impressed with him. He's playing some great football. I definitely challenge some people to go look at the statistics right now of the leading quarterbacks in the Heisman race. Throw in guys like Trinidad Chambliss and Diego Pavia, who have been everything for their team, and see where they rank statistically against the Ty Simpsons, the Fernando Mendozas, and the Julian Sayans of the world right now. Overall, Vanderbilt was clearly the more talented football team here, but Auburn came to play. I was impressed with what I saw from them. I didn't think we'd see an offensive outing from them at all in this game, and they played really well.
Yeah, I was just very impressed with Auburn's offense, but I cannot believe how bad their defense was dominating this game. The defense has been the only reason that this team has any wins this year, and they were just completely absent yesterday. But I mean, they had the offense. I don't know how it flipped like that, just out of nowhere.
I think that DJ Durkin decided this was a perfect showcase opportunity for him. He's a defensive minded coach. He's the DC for Auburn, or was until he got promoted to intern. I think he saw this opportunity and said, all right, Auburn fans haven't seen offense all season. I know I've got the players. We can come up with a game plan to get them the ball. And that's what they did. Regardless of the fact that defense was not really their strong suit in this game, I think a lot of Auburn fans probably feel even better than they did before Hugh Freeze was losing games this season and they looked half decent. I think there was some optimism around Auburn after the Baylor game, but I'd probably be more optimistic after seeing what they did in this game offensively. I mean, Jackson Arnold in there winning against Baylor only threw for like 100 yards. They just had their first quarterback performance that was legitimately good in years.
When that Baylor game is more about just how stupid Baylor's defense was in that game.
That was horrible. And we've seen down the stretch that Baylor's not a great football team like we thought they would be. So I think you got to look at this as in a good light as an Auburn fan. I know you didn't win the game. You probably really could have had a chance. I'm just glad that they ended up trying to get the ball in their playmakers' hands when it mattered. Like in overtime, I know Cam Coleman was in double coverage on the fade on 4th down, but they still tried to get it to him. Hugh Freeze would have run some dumb crap shovel pass or something, and it would have gotten boxed. I'm telling you right now, Hugh Freeze would have done some BS, and it would have gotten boxed. So I was impressed. DJ Durkin was able to come up with an offensive performance that was one of the best Auburn's had in as long as I can remember. So, really impressive stuff. Both teams played great. I think one of the biggest advantages Vanderbilt had in this game was one, Diego Pavia, and two, penalty yardage disparity. Auburn had 12 penalties for 91 yards in this game. Vanderbilt only had 3 for 21. The mistakes were minimal. Turnovers were far and few between. I think Vanderbilt had one fumble. Auburn had no turnovers. The penalties, I think, is what really separated this game at the end, going into overtime. Those couple of big penalties that Auburn had probably could have changed this game.
We've
So,
seen some of these teams without their head coach commit a bunch of penalties in games.
yeah, that's typically how things go. If there's anything that I've learned from this season is that never count out SEC refs to exploit teams that are undisciplined with a ton of penalties. They're not scared to throw the flags. They are trained to throw that flag as much as possible. I feel like the Arkansas State game from the previous week that we talked about, which we'll probably bring up again at the end of the season when we start talking about SEC officiating. We've seen too many times this year where these officials just take advantage of teams that are undisciplined and take every opportunity to throw flags. So that's enough about my rant for officiating. But Vanderbilt gets a huge win to stay with 2 losses and be in the playoff conversation, setting up for a huge game in Knoxville against Tennessee.
They're going to take care of Kentucky first.
Yeah, Kentucky's playing good football right now.
Yeah.
They just waxed Florida 38-7. We were going to talk about this game a little bit, but to be honest with you, I think Florida's just had so many players basically opt out and get injured that this team never had a chance. Kentucky's playing better football right now with Cutter Boley as the starter. It was not going to be a fair fight. In Kroger Field at Kentucky at night, Florida's just got nothing left in the tank. If they make this game competitive next week against Ole Miss, I'd be very surprised. So that about does it for our Auburn Vanderbilt recap.